Good evening. Rohel and Emmanuel helped me put this together, so my gratitude to them. But most importantly, I met Mr. Chintamani Rao almost 23 years back, and he was running a large agency and had just started exchange from India. And subsequently, I kept meeting him, and I would go to meet him, and there is a lot I could say about him, but I would say there are three things that never changed about him in the last 23 years of having interacted with him. First is he was always very meticulous. I remember in my first meeting I got 10 minutes, 12 minutes late, which I do get sick for meetings for my friend to know me 5 minutes, but I show up 100 after 100 times. And he conveyed to me that it's a good habit to be on high. Second thing is, he started in advertising and then went on to media side, and anyone I spoke to in media over the last 10 years always spoke well of him, which is not a very done thing in media. In fact, I must say there are a lot of people in media don't talk about media leaders well because they don't know them well, or talk about them in a tone that is not the best tone. But I never met somebody, in spite of Mr. Rao being very straight about what he felt and sometimes putting forward the case very forthrightly, people love him. Third, in the last few years, Mr. Rao started writing, and I want to mention one day early this year, Mr. Rao texted me and asked me to tell him whether it would be okay to write a piece on Mr. Piyush Pandey. And I said, okay, that's a great idea. And he wrote, and I can tell you that I love reading. Beyond emails also I read a lot. These are and it was the finest piece I have read on Mr. Piyush Pandey. There are other things he can say, but I'm sure Mr. Pandey also felt like that. And I found a man who was doing things for the sheer passion and doing it the right way. About 8.5 weeks back, Mr. Rao again texted me saying, TRAI has brought in this new white paper where they're wanting to invite rating agencies. Do you think it merits an article in the debate? And I said, yes, it does. And we put up a media debate. He was part of it. He wrote the article. So these things he did because he cares for the people in the industry. He cares for the industry that he's been part of for 50 years. I can go on. My relationship with him is more formal. There are many people in the room who know him much better than me, but over the last 23 years, I've interacted a lot with him. I remember I was telling his son that I was invited to your marriage, but I was not in Delhi. But I made sure my wife, who doesn't go to too many dudes, showed up at Ashoka with the shagun, as we do. And because I always respected Mr. Rao, and even in his absence, I call him Mr. Rao, who everybody calls him Chinta. I'm particularly happy that today the early bird prize for showing up went to his elder son. He was here at 7:15 or 7:16 p.m. and I can only say that I'm very happy to welcome his family. First of all, his wife Reena ji is here. I met her at 2-3 parties that he did. His son Krishna and his wife Laila are here, and most importantly, the star of the evening, Mr. Kian is here. When I grow up, I want to be like him. But he told me I'm already grown up, so chances are less, right? Also, his younger son Amber is here, so just want to acknowledge their presence. Don't want to do long speeches. There are people like Mr. Desai, Mr. Sunandan Chaudhary, Mr. Rajul Kulshesh, who work, Mr. Devashish Paul, Mr. L.V. Krishnan, Mr. Rohit Bansal, who work very closely with him, apart from the extended professional family. Mr. Avinash Pandey is here, Mr. Varun Kohli is there, Mr. Salil Kapoor is there, You work with him. Mr. Bhuvan Lal is there, and when Mr. Lal was walking in, Mr. Rao reminded him that he first met him in South Exit, the IBF office in the basement. I can only say that Mr. Rao is very young. He just celebrated his 25th birthday a couple of days back, and I'm happy that we are doing this. I told him I could have done it better, but the fact that Ruhail and Mani helped me put this together, I'm great. Mr. Sunil Gupta is there, and again he's somebody I tremendously respect. When I was Sunandan hired me in my first media job at HTS. Sunandan was the CEO of Portland. Mr. Gupta is there. Mr. Gupta became the CEO of J. Walter Thompson, and we couldn't even reach near his office. Meeting him was another story. And I may say it like that, but that's not an exaggeration. So I'm happy a lot of you have come to be well. Bhupen, thank you for being here. Most of you know Mr. Chintamani Rao, but most people who've written about him on our site in the last few days, you'll see a special newsletter on him tomorrow. You'll see the AV on him, have described him like a gentle giant. And Prasoon is not here. He's worked with Mr. Rao because he's gone from Cannes to the US. He wrote a piece for us today in the morning where he said, let me quote from the piece. He said, Chintamani Rao simplified most complex problems and always looked at the larger picture. He said he was so dependable. Chinta hai to fikr nahi. I've always felt if you have someone like Chinta around you, you are assured that things will work out no matter how difficult the task at hand is. And Prasoon goes on to say that Chinta was already a much respected name in the industry before I joined. From my Ogilvy days to mechanic, was always a learning experience to spend time with him. He simplified the most complex problem and always looked at the larger picture. There are many talented professionals he has nurtured for the industry, and he still keeps doing things to be able to contribute to the industry. So that's what I would say. I wish Mr. Rao another 25-30 years of being active, if not more, and I'm sure he'll contribute to the industry and pursue his passion. Thank you for being there.